The MLB free agent market is witnessing a series of highly calculated movements as teams strive to find the perfect additions to their active rosters. Analysis from reputable sources outlines a complex personnel map where every signing is a long-term strategic decision. New information regarding Bo Bichette's future, emerging just before major negotiations, has significantly shifted the competitive landscape among clubs. Evaluating the compatibility between a player and a team now goes beyond mere statistics. It hinges on the ability to fill specific gaps within tactical schemes. Fans are currently fixated on the moves of top executives to determine the most likely landing spots for these stars. The battle for Kyle Tucker. The transfer saga began with high drama surrounding Kyle Tucker, with the Toronto Blue Jays maintaining their position as the frontrunners to secure his signature. However, the New York Mets, bolstered by immense financial resources and an urgent need for outfield depth, remain a formidable counterweight. A difficult question arises: is the New York front office willing to pair Juan Soto and Tucker to create a devastating offensive juggernaut for the future? Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Dodgers are observing quietly, aiming to turn an already powerhouse roster into an unstoppable force. The fierce rivalry between the two recent World Series participants, the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, now continues at the negotiating table over this single name. Regarding tactical fit, the Blue Jays' 2026 outfield would take on an entirely new dimension with Tucker. Positioning George Springer or Anthony Santander in left field requires careful calculation of defensive range and physical longevity. Regardless of who takes that spot, Tucker's presence is the linchpin for ensuring balance in Toronto's defensive system. Offensively, slotting Tucker into the second spot in the batting order would exert constant pressure on opposing pitchers. The philosophy of batting the best hitters at the top of the lineup to maximize their plate appearances is the clear direction the team is pursuing. The ideal scenario for the Blue Jays involves a core featuring Springer, Tucker, and star Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This combination, coupled with a potential resurgence from Santander, would be a nightmare for any pitcher. This does not even account for contributions from Alejandro Kirk or the newly joined young talent, Kaz Okamoto. However, signing Okamoto may have inadvertently tightened the financial flexibility and roster space for other blockbuster plans. The front office may face painful choices between retaining veteran pillars and bringing in new elements to prevent rivals from growing stronger. Strategic adjustments in Los Angeles and New York. At the Los Angeles Dodgers, acquiring Tucker would force Teoscar Hernandez to adjust his position, though this is not viewed as a significant hurdle. The reigning World Series champions possess enough flexibility to seamlessly rotate personnel between the infield and outfield. Tucker's arrival would make a Dodgers lineup featuring Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman even more terrifying. Balancing left-handed hitters like Freeman and Tucker will require tactical finesse from the coaching staff to avoid becoming predictable. In reality, the Dodgers function perfectly well without Tucker, but adding him would represent an absolute consolidation of power. Shifting to the New York Mets, positional changes are mandatory if they hope to bring Tucker to Citi Field. Juan Soto might have to return to left field, a position he played during his time in Washington, to yield right field to Tucker. The vacancy in center field could be filled by young prospects or short-term bridge contracts. David Stern's cautious management style suggests the Mets will not spend recklessly, but will focus on truly essential pieces. Placing Tucker in the second spot would push other hitters further down the order, creating a distinct layering of offensive power. The Alex Bregman market. While pairing two left-handed hitters back-to-back may raise tactical concerns, the sheer elite talent of these stars usually overrides such issues. Among the three teams pursuing Tucker, Toronto is viewed as the destination that offers the best career balance. However, In terms of pure hunger for reinforcements, the Mets are showing the greatest resolve. Moving away from the Tucker narrative, the market is heating up for Alex Bregman as he seeks a long-term deal. Despite widespread interest, indecision at the bargaining table has left this pursuit at a standstill. Internal sources believe the Blue Jays and the Arizona Diamondbacks are the two clubs leading the race for Bregman. The presence of Kaz Okamoto in Toronto could cause some friction in plans to recruit more infielders. There remains a possibility that Bregman could transition to second base if he joins the Canadian franchise. Teams like the Cubs, Red Sox, and Tigers have made initial inquiries, but none have yielded concrete results. If Toronto chooses Bregman, it likely signals a withdrawal from the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes due to budget constraints. Analyzing potential fits for Bregman. In Toronto, slotting Bregman at second base instead of Dalton Varsho would be a significant offensive upgrade. Meanwhile, at the Chicago Cubs, Bregman's arrival would push younger players into utility roles to gain experience. This could also open doors for the Cubs to execute trades to clear a path for the next generation. Bregman would be expected to serve as a cornerstone, creating favorable conditions for primary hitters like Seiya Suzuki to shine. The Cubs are a high-potential landing spot if they can resolve their current roster structural bottlenecks. Conversely, the situation at the Detroit Tigers appears more complex, as they already possess a crowded infield. Cramming Bregman into the lineup might deprive promising young talents of playing time. The Tigers would also struggle to find an ideal leadoff hitter if Bregman joins. Defensive limitations and positional overlap make Detroit the least likely destination on the list. Rather than chasing Bregman, retaining their current core might be the wiser path for the Tigers. The Arizona Diamondbacks present a different story, as they could establish an elite infield defense with Bregman. Pairing him with existing stars like Ketel Marte would create a rock-solid foundation. However, financial barriers cast doubt on their ability to sustain two such high-profile stars simultaneously. Arizona fans have reason to worry about a potential unwanted trade if the club becomes determined to land Bregman. Choosing between a current icon and a new star is always a grueling test for any front office. Finally, the Boston Red Sox are currently seen as the most suitable environment for Bregman to maximize his influence. Despite concerns about blocking the progression of younger players, Bregman possesses the veteran elite status that Boston currently lacks. Placing him third in the batting order would provide incredible stability and efficiency to the offense. Bregman would be the vital piece connecting the youth movement with the veterans in the Red Sox lineup. His future will likely be decided by the next sequence of moves in this volatile free agent market.